bones. The truth's never known. I dig deep, peel back the layers, exposing the lies, shattering their prayers, government plots and secret societies. I'm a messenger, spreading truth and anxieties. They call me crazy, they call me insane, but I won't back down, I'll stay in the game. Eyes wide open, no room for sleep, uncovering secrets that they try to keep. I can let the dust.
Shut your bitch ass up. Get a life, kid.
You know what I can do?
You can't see me.
Actually, MJF, I'm a level 45 Padawan Warlock Knight, so you better watch your mouth.
I did it for The Rock. I did it for the people. I did it. Shut your mouth, you thong wearer.
Step into the ring, it's Monday Night Fire. My rhymes burn hotter than a funeral pyre. I'm the heavyweight champ, you can call me sire. Reviewing raw like a southern rap messiah. Crossing over lines like I'm Stone Cold Steve Austin. Flipping opponents like I'm Randy Orton. Dirty South flow, my words they be costing. Every verse I drop got them head nodding. Spit lyrical punches like a ruthless fighter. Got the crowd hype, I'm the crowd igniter. Breaking down the raw matches, no denier. Dirty style rap, I'm the Monday night supplier.
Window lickers, welcome back. Grun's friends, my friends, the Chaos Goblins. How are you doing? It's another Monday Night Raw, and you're here with the King Window Licker. Keep them clean and know me. You've heard of me. It is I, the voice, Joshua Joseph, here on another Window Licking Monday Night preview show with me and my friends. You know my friends. And you know what? Let's just bring my friends on because I like my friends and my friends like me. Well, that's the wrong friend. There we go.
Are we sure I'm the right friend, though?
Yes. You gotta get
Jury's
the
out.
right friend. All right. Guys, how are you doing? It's another fantastic Monday. It's great to see you, Grun. Great to see you, Kevin. How goes it? Let me know what's happened since I've seen you last.
I mean, not a whole lot for me other than wrestling. Obviously, I don't have I would have walked onto this set with a championship if I'd have won it on Friday, but I fell short. Heavyweight championship match. And then I was out. I actually got a opportunity to wrestle a luchador based out of El Paso, Texas on Sunday, which was really fun. We wrestled at a fair. And Shane Saber, I don't know if you've heard of him, out of Canada. Two really good talents.
I have not.
And that was a really fun experience. So lots of wrestling, lots of doing things, lots of paperwork, lots of grinding. You know how we all do.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do. All right, Grun, what have you been up to, you blue-eyed villain?
I mean, I've just been enjoying my weekend. I've been getting back into some Tarkov. Obviously, it's a mistake anytime I play a game that involves shooting real people in game.
Okay? We're talking PvP, not PvE, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we're talking.
Oh
PvP.
my god, I can't read people in games. It's too erratic.
Try reading people in Tarkov. Okay, like the first time I played it, I got a kill. Unfortunately, it was my teammate.
Oof.
Yeah, and I did not. I forgot what he looked like, and it's really important that you know what your teammates are wearing when you load in.
Very true.
Tarkov.
That's true with Rocket League too. You got to know what color you are, else you're scoring the wrong goal. That's definitely not happened to me multiple times.
Never. No. And we will not admit if it did.
Oh, my favorite instance and story that I ever had of a team kill is my buddy Billy.
Yeah.
And my buddy Billy loaded into Call of Duty. This was like back in Modern Warfare 2 before the remake. And he loaded in, and our friend Billy decided to partake in a lot of marijuana prior to this. So he loaded in and forgot the buttons. The first button he pressed, grenade.
Oh.
He threw the grenade going, oh shit, grenade. Threw it,
damn.
hits off of a tree, comes back at the team, blows up everybody.
Oh my god.
It was
Billy
hilarious.
sounds like a treat. I like that guy. That sounds fantastic. Do we have any outside wrestling news, anything that we want to jump into before we get into our Monday night preview?
You know what we do, Josh. A couple weeks ago, the Daily Wire, who is very known for being a conservative political talking point and commentators, released their first theatrical movie, Matt Walsh's Am I a Racist? It was made more as a comedy, and has actually, by audience members on Rotten Tomatoes, gotten 97%. I think it's 97 or 98, like ridiculously high. They have, I don't think anyone expected them to do that well in their first theatrical release, which is a big deal. The other thing about it that was odd was that Rotten Tomatoes waited quite a long time before they released any critic reviews. The only thing we had to go off of was audience reviews, and if you're like me, critic reviews you don't really listen to, because I remember the critic reviews for the first Venom movie, they were like 50-60%, while the audience was 80%. I'm like, I'm gonna trust the audience because they're probably gonna be a little bit more honest than a critic, because a critic might get paid to give a review one way or another or the other. But I've heard it's funny. I've heard it's very good. Josh, have you or Kevin, have you heard anything about the movie so far?
I haven't heard anything about it as far as reviews or anything, but I knew it was coming out. I just I haven't gotten a chance to look at it. It seemed like an interesting premise depending on how they approached it. But I was reticent just how they were going to approach it. That was my big thing with it.
Of course.
As long as it was tastefully done and we aren't being huge dicks to people, for lack of better terms.
No, very true. Very true.
Then I think it's worth. I've always been under the notion that comedy doesn't really know. Comedy is supposed to be an ever thing that we bring in. It's supposed to be something that brings everyone in and we can talk about any topic so that we can open this discussion with maybe some humor or something else.
Yeah.
And comedy has traditionally brought a lot of social issues to light. And I'm under the belief that it doesn't need the level of meticulous backtracking that a lot of people do these days.
Right.
Policing people on past specials. Where would they have said it 10 years ago? Yes, but would they say it now? Probably not, because it's not the time and the place.
Right.
So as long as this one can kind of walk that line well enough with the social issues going on, because I know it's very volatile in the United States, then I think it's worth a watch.
Yeah. Yeah. And, let's stick in the realm of movies and critics. I liked what Grun said.
Mm-hmm.
There's very few critics I follow anymore. I would actually go back. I haven't followed one since the Ninja Turtles movie when I was a kid, and Siskel and Ebert were giving it reviews. That's the last time I really watched one because, I was a kid, but they were on TV. They were actually presented in a way that was like, if you wanted to know something of the movie, you went to them to find out because of the lack of the internet and all that. But how do you guys in an overall sense, Grun, we kind of heard what you said, but let's hit on this real quick before we dive into the Monday. How do you guys view critics? Does it even mess with your opinion, or do you do like Grun said and wait for the audience and like-minded friends to review it?
I kind of do both.
Okay.
I don't usually look at a lot of reviews from movies because at this day and age, at the ripe age of 34, I know what movies I like and what I'm not gonna.
Right.
And I know what I'm getting
mean.
myself into if I'm showing up to a superhero movie for the 50th superhero movie that I've watched. I'm getting some action, I'm getting some ridiculousness, and the bar is low. And I'm not like but I walked into every superhero movie with the bar low. I just wanted a story to be told and some fun. Just give me some fun.
Gotcha.
I know I'm not going to walk into like, this is the one that I always think of because a ton of friends raved it to me. And then I watched 15 minutes of it and I went, this movie isn't for me. It was The King's Speech. I'm sure that movie is very, very good and it's well made and it's got a great premise and a story. I couldn't get through 15 minutes of it. It's just not who I am. So at this point, I know what stuff I'm going in for. But the ones I tend to use it for more are video games. Video games and critics, I tend to take the audience score, who kind of has followed this series for a while now, because most things are sequels or spinoffs or whatever.
Very true.
How they feel about it, and then how the critics feel about it. Because the critics might bring up some things, and the audience might bring up some things. And then I go, oh, okay, that's interesting. I'll take a look at this. Oh, okay, that's interesting. I'm very interested in buying this game. Things like that.
Gotcha. I like it. Grun, are you the same way with how Kevin, he kind of transitioned this conversation into the video game critics? Since you didn't answer on that, where do you sit on video game critics?
I am very skeptical of video game critics or critics in general. I have recently in the last, I guess, year found out about Jeremy Johns on YouTube. He does a lot of movie reviews, and I've seen reviews for him, and usually I'll watch if it's a movie that I'm curious. I'm not sure how I feel about it, and even when I've gone back and watched reviews he's done for movies I have seen and I've had opinions on, so I try and feel like, is this someone whose opinion I'm going to trust in the future or not? Jeremy Johns, and I tend to feel like I can trust his opinion that he can give a good review. But when it comes to video games, I'm very picky about the video games I play, and lately I don't really listen to video game critics. I just look at the game and decide, and I've kind of figured out what do I like. I like the third person, first person games. I like when there's melee combat and a lot of it. I like story based. So I try and be like, you know what? I don't give a damn what critics say. I know what I've determined what I like, and if people don't agree with me, that's perfectly fine. There's a million categories for video games.
Totally agree with both of you on all fronts on this. And exactly what Annie was saying, in the chat. She feels like most critics are too jaded in their opinion to actually give objective feedback. And I feel that a lot of people, they actually find that. I remember growing up, there was a channel G4. That's what I went to for my video games, because I could always find a personality on there that I connected with and that was going to give me an honest opinion of the game. And I usually took that and went with it. But fellas, we're here. You know what we're here for. And it's just always a magical time when Monday hits. And, I just got to ask you guys one question.
Are you ready?
Into this.
We're ready. We're ready.
We are ready. Get the X's up. Let's go. And I'm going to hit us with this first one, guys. And this is going to be, I think this is going to be a conversation for everybody to have. Chat, we hope you're live on this one, because this is my hot take. My fellow co-hosts, they didn't have anything to do with this subject, so don't give them any shit. Give the shit to me. I'm right here.
Yeah, give a shit afterwards.
You bore me, Strowman. You bore me. So I know there was a very physical fight, a very physical match, something that we've actually been championing on this channel to see this specific match. But throughout the match, I kept watching Braun Strowman, and I was wondering, why is he taking up time from Bronson Reed when he could be having a Bronson Reed destroyer match with somebody that, if he beats them or there's something that happens in the match, it actually has relevance. I think that's where I'm going with this on this. I don't feel that Braun Strowman in a match has any relevance right now. I want to kick it to Kevin first. Kevin, give me your opinion on this. Am I out of my element? Should I go back to the locker room? Let me know.
I can see where you're coming from on it for sure. It's one of those things where Braun Strowman kind of came back from out of nowhere to do with this Bronson Reed feud. So was he super relevant coming back because he's been gone so long?
Yes.
And I agree with Con what he's saying. Like, the inconsistency in Strowman's booking is hindering this from having a lot more relevance, because right now we're viewing this as Bronson Reed wins, moves on. There's not a lot of intrigue going on. That being said, I will bring up one thing that you said. We've seen him in these matches. We actually haven't seen a full match with Bronson Reed versus Braun Strowman. So we have seen Strowman in other matches to qualify for Intercontinental title things and other stuff, and then Bronson Reed will come in, stop him, all that fun jazz. Or if they were booked in a match, it has gone to absolute schmaz. They go to the outside. They do, tsunamis on cars. They destroy entire entranceways. Like, that's what they're doing. They're trying to build Bronson Reed up. It's very evident that Strowman isn't actually the priority in this, and he's there doing business. That being said, I think Strowman is one of those people who's always at least semi-relevant, simply because of how large he is. If that man walked up to you and you put another wrestler next to him, and a normal person looked at it, they would go, "Oh, Strowman's going to mop the floor with that man."
Very true. Solid point.
Because of that, it's the same thing that happened with Big Show for so long. He would switch heel, he would switch face, because he was a 5-tool player despite only doing a couple things. Because you could put him anywhere to make anyone relevant just by beating him.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing with Strowman now, I think. And that's why it's more intriguing about who he's feuding with rather than him.
Okay.
So I don't know that he's boring, but they certainly don't have a lot of intrigue with the storylines he's in. So yes. I think it's the storyline that's far more boring, simply because we all feel like we know the outcome already, and the story just started chapter 1.
So it's the placement in which the storyline is running through. And let's say Bronson Reed wasn't in the picture yet. This might be more of a viable Braun Strowman then. Like, let's say if it was Sheamus or somebody like that.
Think about Braun Strowman not in a feud right now, but having the matches that he had. Like, let's take Bronson Reed out of it entirely. Anything that's happened with Bronson Reed, it didn't happen. He was in an Intercontinental title match because he won a different match to get into it. That would have been intriguing in itself, because then without Bronson Reed involved, we would have went, oh my God, are they going to go with Strowman against Braun Breaker?
Okay.
Because they could have. They could have done that. But because Bronson Reed was involved, all of us thought, oh, well, Bronson Reed was supposed to be in this spot. Strowman got it anyway. They're going to spiral off into that. Again, it's how they're approaching it rather than the other things.
I like that. Very insightful. Grun, before we hit you, we're going to see what the concept says, and he is letting us know, I bet Reed puts Strowman on the shelf, and boom, Braun is back off TV. And that doesn't go too far where we could possibly land. Grun, where's your head at with Braun Strowman? Does he bore you like Zoidberg, or where are you at?
I think I'm somewhere in the middle. I was thinking back, and Strowman, when he was first making his name in WWE, was as part of the Wyatt family, and even afterwards, like he had that explosiveness. But I believe what has happened is, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's had, I think, multiple knee injuries, which is why he doesn't look as explosive as he used to, and I think that has killed him. That is one thing that has killed him. I remember hearing a while ago, producers were telling Braun, like, hey, you gotta stop posting this funny, goofy stuff on X, because we it's hard for us to book you as a monster when you have photos online that you constantly share and people constantly pull up of you at a Halloween party in a tutu.
I did enjoy those pictures, though.
I mean, look,
Adam
sure Braun Strowman has a lot of personality. He seems like a sweetheart of a human being, and seems like he is a great guy to have do PR work and do stuff with kids, make a wish, be a star. Oh, that's like, I think he is great for all that. The issue is he also looks like a fucking monster.
Yeah.
But he acts like he's a big old teddy bear outside the ring, and it's like okay, then I would almost be happy if you dropped the he's the monster of all monsters thing, because, like, you know what, like, you're only calling him that because he looks gigantic compared to the average man. I think the better move for the Bronson Reed stuff would have been have him win the Fatal 4-Way or whatever, the finals of the Intercontinental Tournament, and then Bronson Reed decides, I'm going to go celebrate. Right, Kathy Kelly or Michael Cole or whoever asks, well, how are you going to celebrate? Watch. And he just tsunamis Jey Uso, Dragunov, and everybody he can. And Pierce has said, you know what, motherfucker, I can't. No, do you know what? Bronson, you just lost your fucking title match. Bronson can stand there like an idiot. Like, what did I do wrong? What did I do? What? I wanted to kill somebody with my fat body.
He's going to beat you up if he ever sees this.
He is.
I think I'm slightly faster than Bronson, so I think I have a shot.
Yeah. He's sneaky fast too.
I'm not as thick as him. Okay, so I think I can get away from him.
You are assuming that girth slows down your speed enough.
Yeah.
He has leg muscles that could crush a man's soul, let alone your head. He might be able to catch you, dog.
You know what? If we're in Vegas, I'm putting the bet on Bronson. I love your blue-eyed villain, but I think Bronson's going to catch you. But I do see where you're both coming from with this, and I think it's more of a maybe we see where they're going to go with Strowman. Maybe he's going to go off into the sunset after this feud. Maybe Bronson Reed does put him on the shelf, like the concept alluded to. There's all these possibilities, and you know what? We're gonna have a change of heart here. Kevin, you brought up some great points. You too, Grun. So I think I'm gonna let it mellow, let it marinate with Strowman, and see maybe there's some possibility. I would love if he went to a lighthearted Big Show towards the end of his career, the way that was. Comical relief.
Get a lot of business out of that.
I think so.
Like, he's already a great PR business.
Yeah.
Why not make his on-screen character more reminiscent of his actual person? Because you can still you don't necessarily need to keep the moniker of Monster Among Men or Monster Among Monsters or whatever, monster thing they're using.
Yeah.
But realistically, you can have him switch in a match. So he is carefree. He does treat these things like lightheartedly until he doesn't.
Yes.
And then it becomes more of a character arc for him, and it becomes more intriguing for people watching.
That's why they call him the Chaos Goblin. Kevin Kalloway, stay tuned with us if you want to hear more insights, because we got another topic coming up. And Grun, I think you're going to like this one, because this one's all about you. We're doing some Grun talk. Grun, you got something you want to talk about, and I think it involves these three megastars.
Indeed, it does. Yes.
All right, Grun. So hit us with your talk. We are in Grun talk.
All right. Well, we got Sami Zayn once again last week came out looking for a title match against Gunther. And Gunther, well, he's not the one who answered. Ludwig Kaiser came out instead and was talking about how Sami Zayn doesn't have what it takes. He's not worthy to face Gunther. And Sami Zayn started pointing out, well, I mean, Ludwig, look what you've done. Like you're just like me. You want to prove to people what you can do. You took out Giovanni Vinci. You took out your tag team partner because you want to show everyone what you're capable of. And Gunther, he doesn't need you. Like why do you associate with him? Because you could beat him. It's essentially like he's trying. He has planted the seeds for what we have been wondering how this is going to happen, and that is the Imperium split. The seeds have been planted. As me personally, like this is something that I've been looking forward to because I think
I know.
I think Ludwig Kaiser. I think there are a lot of places, and this is one place where you saw he's got everything you want in a professional wrestler. He is great in the ring. He is great on the mic. He's got that, and not just words, but like the way he walks, the way he talks, the way he looks at the crowd, and that smug douchebag like look that he wears so well. Well, like this planted the seeds. Gunther comes out and asks Ludwig, "You got something to say? Do you have something you want to tell me?" Ludwig decides to stay loyal to Gunther, and that has led us to tonight where we have a match between Ludwig and Sami Zayn. And that should be really interesting.
Hold off on your predictions on who you think is going to win that one.
Okay. All right. I'll hold off on.
I want to do this at the very end once we get everybody's. Yeah. And we're going to do that. So Kevin, hit us with what you think on Grun's subject here. Are you into this?
So the wrestler in me says it's too early to break them. It needs to marinate longer, but that they clearly have a thought process to do it if they're teasing it this way. Now, what they do with that is up to them. I don't think Sami Zayn becomes the thing that splits them apart. I don't think it's necessary yet. I think Ludwig is still getting a nice rub by being associated by Gunther. And if you're getting that rub by association and you're getting all of those things, there's no reason to split them apart yet. It's when the underling starts getting reactions over the other person that you have something. And they're not setting up that domino yet. But I guarantee you they will, because they see something in Ludwig Kaiser. His work is impeccable. He reminds me of a young Randy Orton. And I say that with every bit of knowledge that Orton is one of the smoothest people I've ever seen in a ring. There is no wasted movement in that man's stuff. Whether you like his work or not, you cannot argue how smooth and how technical and how absolutely focused in that he is every single time. You can argue that some of his matches are different here and there based on how much he cared to do them. But again, Orton is the smoothest out there. And Ludwig has that air about him where he doesn't waste a movement. He does everything. He looks at those cameras. He makes sure to milk those poses. Like, this dude's going to have an upper mid-card run minimum. And he's probably going to have a long career within the WWE.
Yeah.
So it's important and imperative that they do not rush this and they have a plan. Because if they just split him from Gunther and they have the Gunther-Ludwig match and Ludwig loses, which is probably what's going to happen, you need a solid plan for him afterwards, or else he falls onto the wayside for another few years, and that's wasted opportunity to me.
That's some solid points there. I like it. I'm liking where they're going with this. And I like where Grun started it out. They planted the seed. And then, Kevin, you picked it up, because I think that plays in exactly what everybody's thinking on this panel. We want this, but we want it to be something spectacular. And I think that's how you get there with what Kevin's saying. We let this marinate. The seeds have been planted. Now it's time to nurture that plant and see what we can get from it. And I think it's going to be very fruitful. And I think, if I'm going to make a prediction on that, and this is going to be the prediction for the whole thing, I think when that point happens, when we get that match, I really think that Ludwig will definitely make it to that championship ring. He will be the champion after that, because this guy already has so much momentum behind him that it only seems like exactly what House said. And the very last part of it, he's exceeded expectations, like beyond what anybody could have expected with him. He definitely stepped out of the shadows in a way that it didn't overtake from what Gunther being presented as the dominant force of the group.
He augmented Gunther so well.
Very true. Very true. So we all heard everybody's points on this. We've heard our chat's points. Let's hit Annie's right here real quick. Do you think this push will be the Ludwig to be heel or face? Ramifications of either choice. So why don't we hit that real quick? Grun, what's your thoughts with that?
That is a really good question, Annie. I am going to say they're going to push Ludwig face, at least for the split between him and Gunther. Because I got curious. Ludwig is 34 years old and is a second generation wrestler. So his father was a wrestler. So I think there's some ammunition there, and especially since Ludwig and Gunther have known each other for a very long time. So I'm wrestling on the same scene, wrestling the same scenes, the same areas in Europe.
WXW, yeah, I think they both.
Yes, WXW is the promotion I'm seeing the most named most. Yeah. So there could be some dirt. There could be some stuff there between Ludwig and Gunther, where Gunther can bring it up, make Ludwig seem less like a smug, arrogant prick to the fans, and maybe make him seem more sympathetic, which would keep Gunther as a good heel. And even if Ludwig loses that rivalry, it could be a way to send Ludwig over to SmackDown, where he'll have a fresh start. He'll have more people to feud with, and be able to maybe finish the feud that he started with Giovanni Vinci.
Maybe that would,
if Giovanni gets any momentum behind him.
I think they should just have him come in and just smash Giovanni. Get rid of him. All right, Kevin, what was your thoughts on that question brought by Annie?
In the spirit of what Grun just said about the draft, they don't actually have to turn him on Gunther. No. They can split them in the draft and keep both heel, because I think both are better as heel. Ludwig, I think, has a better, like that smug, arrogant look. Like, I'm
Yeah.
sure he's not that, like, behind the scenes or anything, but he has that great, like, punchable face, as I like to say. He's got a great punchable face, and he's got a great, like, slappable face once he's got a smile on it. So why utilize that as a face that you, like, do you want to hit a face? Like, we don't want to do that.
No.
So instead, make it circumstantial at first. Then you can revisit them facing each other later out of maybe necessity, maybe it's something else. And I think that might end up being better for both careers, mostly Ludwig's, because Gunther is going to succeed basically no matter what at this point, it seems. But for Ludwig especially, taking him away more out of circumstance might be a better call, or an intriguing one at least. Because Gunther is going to continue to be the most over heel and say the most egregious things to whoever he is working with. And it's going to continue to be entertaining. It's going to continue to be shocking, but he's going to continue to be a heel. So that only really leaves Ludwig to be a face if you're going to feud him with him. And I just don't, I'm not saying that he can't succeed in that role, because I'm sure he can based on the work that I've seen. But is it the best role when you're trying to give him the momentum? I might argue no, simply because I've seen how well he works heel. So just options, I guess, is kind of what I'm looking at. And
I like it.
I think a ramification of turning him face potentially for a feud, just to get a feud out of him and Gunther, it could have a ramification of hindering growth and setting him back a year to have to rebuild.
Very
that's
true.
not how we know him.
Hey, you're hitting it out of the park tonight. You and Grun are really bringing some valid points to this. We're going to put a pin in this one just so we can move on. I do want to highlight Annie's comment here. He is the male equivalent to Tiffany Stratton. And
Aren't they dating? I'm pretty sure they're dating.
Yes, they are.
Yes. Jessica and Marcel are actually dating.
Yeah,
in the real world.
Yes. But I see the comparison.
All right, fans. So, we got a new third chair here. Kevin Kalloway, the Chaos Goblin, and we had to give him his own little segment with his own little subject. We had to give it to him because he's here. He's a part of the team. So let's see.
I negotiated in my contract.
Exactly. So let's see what taste of chaos he's bringing us on this week. Go ahead, Kevin. Let him know what we're talking about.
Is it, in fact, a new day for Xavier Woods? So we've been teasing this for a while, but really last week is when we really saw it start imploding.
Very true.
And I think this can go multiple directions depending on how they want to do it and what they want to do with it. So really what I want to ask to the group, and I think I based on our conversations a little bit, I think I know where you guys stand on it. So I'm gonna offer two things. I'm gonna offer two scenarios. What is a good way for them to turn Xavier Woods against Kofi and split the New Day? Or how can we keep them together in a believable way after all of this turmoil? Because they do, if they are going to stay as a tag team, they will need an obstacle to overcome, and this is legitimately one of them, being off the same page. When you're not on the same page as the person you're teaming with, it leads to shambles. So I will cue that up for both of you. What is a good way to do both of those? You can either both take both or both take one or the other.
I think yes. So if you're going to keep, I'll do both. If they're going to keep New Day together, and this is, I am trying, and I cannot see any other way where you can get the momentum back that the New Day once had, and unfortunately, it does require the reunification of the three amigos. Big E needs to be cleared for In Reaction, or at least being brought in to be an on-screen character and be a manager. Whereas, where I know he may not be able to wrestle, but maybe he can still bring that Big E energy. Because I think without that, New Day dies. And you know what? Like I don't know what would be wrong with that, because New Day was iconic. They had the struggles, but they became one of the hottest acts in WWE in years, and have cemented a legacy that I can't think of anyone else has ever come close to that. Their kind of legacy, what they have done, it's impressive. Um, if they are splitting the New Day, I think we see a much more vicious and violent version of Xavier Woods. I don't think he joins the Final Testament. If they do that, then well, shit.
No, we've jumped too many sharks there.
Yeah, yeah,
We've Fonzarelli'd it.
yeah. I think the best thing for this to go is Xavier Woods beats Kofi all on his own. No shenanigans, no silly things, no interference. Just he beats Kofi flat in a dominant fashion. So now all of a sudden people see this is the Xavier Woods has been there the entire time. It's just he never had a reason to bring it out. He had Big E, he had Kofi in his corner. Now he's got no one in his corner. So now we're seeing exactly how dangerous how violent he's willing to get.
That makes sense.
I like it.
Boys,
I like
what
it.
do you think?
Well, see, when Grun gave his first one, I my wheels started turning for the second question. And I like the second one. I like the Xavier Woods going out on his own. And I think you do that with a beautifully brutal match where Xavier snaps. And I think you bring in what you were speaking of. If you're going to keep them, their trial, their tribulation can be just being off the same page. And I think Xavier brings that up. I think Xavier throughout this match, he's yelling things because he's so frustrated, because as you've seen time after time after time, he can get that win, and then Kofi's got to go to that next level. Well, you know what, Kevin and Grun, I'm 41 years old. You don't see me out there shotgunning beers. You don't see me downing a fifth of whiskey anymore, because my old ass can't do it no more. So I think Kofi needs to listen, get up on this podcast, start listening to me, because Kofi, you were brilliant. You gave us so many memorable years, and you still have a little gas in that tank. But if you want to keep your brotherhood alive, you can't be going up there and jumping off and taking out everybody when your boys got the pin in the ring. You took the ref out of the ring, the most important thing, the key element of winning a match. And I think that could be the straw that breaks the camel's back with Xavier. That's where I want to see a, need I say, Dr. Lecter type of Xavier Woods. I don't need to see this up, down, down thing. I love the way he is comically, but right now in this, when you're going to split this, something that meant something to so many people growing up, so many people, when New Day came, we were like, oh, I don't know about this, but they made us like them because of them, their personalities, just being them out there. And without Big E, you don't have that anymore.
I agree. So then I'm going to add a chaotic little third piece to this, just because I can.
This is Taste of Chaos.
Okay. So we've talked about him turning heel. We've talked about them staying together. What if we could find a way for them to amicably split? That way they both stay face where they are strong. I don't think that's out of the question either. And I don't think that would hurt either of them, because they simply just divert paths. You can still have Xavier Woods potentially go more vicious because he is more desperate to prove himself. But instead of turning on Kofi can almost try and be a voice of reason later as he's making these decisions. So you don't bring it up now so that you may bring it up later.
I like that. You know, when you're saying that, I even went more chaotic in my head. Why are we not redoing the Austin Pillman where Xavier busts into Kofi's house, Kofi pulls out that knife and points it right at him, cut to black. That's
I don't think it's that serious.
I think it could be. I think we need to get there because I want to believe Xavier he's at his breaking point. He's
Sure.
physically exhausted with watching what he had to what it is now, and knowing that one of the big components of that is still on the bench and he ain't getting off of it yet. Haven't heard a doctor say, hey, you can go back and do this stuff. And if they have, why is he waiting? Does he even want to get back in there? Did this last injury really put something in his head?
They do keep bringing up Big E, which is pretty convenient within the confines of the universe because they don't tend to call attention to that kind of stuff without a plan for that person.
Yeah.
There you go. And it's just like the concept has been telling us, you got to keep your eye on Finn Balor, watch what Finn was doing. And then now look what we got. We got a progression in that storyline. Not trying to get off of the New Day subject, but I'm trying to link it to what you're talking about. And
Yeah,
I think that's perfect right there. Like what you're saying, he would not be featured as much as he is if they did not have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. I really like that. Grun, why don't you take the last spot on this one? And
Okay.
if you got any final thoughts on this, the chat's going live with this Kofi and Xavier. If you want to hit any of those comments, go ahead.
I do. I want to hit Alicant, our boss. I want to hit his question. What is the ceiling for a heel Xavier? Now that is a very good question because I have seen Xavier Woods as Consequences Creed in TNA, babyface character. I have seen him as Xavier Woods before, pre-New Day and during New Day. We have the closest, New Day was heel for like a minute, but they weren't very good heels. So I think
Did they start out where they weren't very good baby faces? Because they tried to make them baby faces with the choir, and then everyone poo-pooed that. They're like, this is stupid. So then New Day committed so hard. And I'm pretty sure like they've had multiple interviews where they looked at Vince, who was telling him to do it and be babyface with it. And they said, no, we're going to end up heel. You know that, right? Because this is the corniest shit I've ever heard.
Yeah, exactly.
So then that's when they leaned in. But I do agree the heel aspect of it, it didn't end up being very heely because they were entertaining.
Yeah, but now I think under this new regime and Xavier being in WWE for as long as he has and had the time to learn, I guess learn from the best, learn like from Shawn Michaels, learn from Triple H, learn from people that have been around the block more than a couple times. I think he has the knowledge to figure out how to be heel and do it well in this under this umbrella. As far as the ceiling, I have no idea how it could be. It could be the thing that propels him to being a world champion, or could make him good enough to have a nice, decent reign as U.S. champion or Intercontinental champion.
Yeah, and I think you got a top of the card that's very loaded with a lot of talent, but you're still seeing. Look at what we were talking about last week with Gunther.
Yeah,
we said who is actually a believable challenger to go for him, and we were coming up blank past Sammy.
Yeah.
Your world title scene, other than I think we forgot one name, and that would have been CM Punk after he's done with Drew.
Yeah.
But realistically, past that, who else do you have? You could do Rollins Gunther when he's back, but he's not back yet. You could do Punk after Drew McIntyre. You could probably get 2 to 3 shows out of that. But past that, like, you're going to need someone to challenge Gunther. But it can't be heel Xavier Woods. It would have to be babyface. But I think a babyface Xavier Woods fighting from underneath against Gunther is an incredibly underrated prospect for a match.
That would be good. I would enjoy that. If they did that and drew it out long enough for a majority of the universe to get behind Xavier for that moment, Oh, it would be
Make him earn
fireworks.
it. Make him earn it over 4
Oh.
months. Make him
And-
prove himself over 4 months. And then he finally gets the world title shot and he loses. He doesn't need to win. But now he is seen as he worked his way up to the top. Now he's at the top.
I love it. This bit of a taste of chaos was a great one. Keep them coming, because you got a mind, Kevin, that we really enjoy. But speaking of exactly what you were just ending with, make him earn it. He hasn't hit it. He's not going to get that level. We got another guy that has been talked about.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and I mean, it's Jey Uso. Does Jey hit that main event level with this one? Guys, I'm starting to see some things with Jey, and I don't think it's going to get the rug pulled out from under it this time. I think we do get the main event Jey Uso that he's been holding with his name for quite a while. And I know our friend Paragon out there has mentioned it multiple times about it. Even Hypocrisy Jones out there has talked about it. Is he main event? Does the name fit the title? What were you guys feeling in this segment? An overall thing. We are up against 9 minutes before we hit Monday Night Raw. So let's make these responses a little quick. But I think we will be revisiting this in the next couple weeks. So go ahead, Kevin. Why don't you kick us off?
So for me, Jey Uso is starting to ascend based on the associations he's making. Over the summer, they didn't really have a lot of plans for him, it seemed. But now he's starting to get featured in not one, but 2 prominent things at the same time. One versus Braun Breaker and one with this Judgment Day angle. So now he is within 2 larger storylines, and there is the prospect of the Bloodline storyline. Now, I actually think the Bloodline storyline, if he now is involved, might, I don't know, I don't want to necessarily say hurt him in a main event way, but he's definitely going to be second or even third fiddle, depending on who is involved in this Bloodline thing. If we're seeing Cody and Roman tagging together, he's going to be third fiddle. It's really not, he's not a larger star than Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. He just isn't.
Okay.
And potentially he'd be fourth fiddle because Jacob Fatu is on the other side.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to really talk myself into this more and more to keep Jey Uso away from the Bloodline stuff as much as you can.
Ooh.
Maybe put him in, just slot him in every so often if you need to, but not a full-fledged, like we're not moving him to SmackDown to do 3 months. We're bringing him in to shake hands with Roman and Jimmy right before War Games. They do War Games, he fucks off. Let's keep him as a singles because they've finally got something behind him. And if he can really keep some of the high-octane offense that he has and tailor it even a little bit more to like that main event, like heavyweight style, I think we're going to see a very, very game Jey Uso in main events for the next years to come.
Big words from Kevin Kalloway. I like it. Grun, where is your thoughts with Jey? I know I've heard him in the past, but where are you at, especially after this Braun Breaker in-ring meeting? I mean, that spear was pretty gnarly, man.
The promo was great too.
Yes. I am on the fence because I was looking at it from because remember I was looking at this from a Goldberg perspective when Braun Breaker debuted, like make him Goldberg, and people in chat made it clear that you can make him Goldberg but at a quicker rate, and it has worked out perfectly. Question is, I think Braun can take the L and not lose momentum and get right back up on the horse. I don't think it would hurt him too much to have to be a 2-time Intercontinental Champion in a short period of time, especially when you have him going up against guys like Jey Uso, who Annie asked, would Jey benefit from NXT run? I think at this point, if you have him go to NXT, do a run there for the NXT Championship or even the North American Championship, I think I think that hurts Jay irrefutably. I think
Oh,
that damages everything, because this is someone who has been on the main roster for for 14 years at least, and he is numerous times tag team champion. Has every year or two, he and Jimmy found a way to get people excited again about the Usos. So first it was the Samoan War Dance, then it was going to SmackDown turning heel. Some people saying looked like garden workers, and yet they looked like, and yet they were badass. They were tough, and then put him with the bloodline. Like, it is only gone up and up and up. This is a whole new field, so it doesn't matter if Jey Uso spent the first 6 months losing, because this was something, because the longtime fans know Jey Uso has never been a singles wrestler, so this is a whole new challenge for him.
I like it. I like it.
It becomes more forgivable that way. More fans will be able to view the transition of it in real time. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Very true. We got the Lou jumping in here with his little pictures. I don't know. It looks Blair Witch. I don't know. Lou, we love you. We miss you. I can't wait to see you back on streaming. Yeah, my Monday nights are kind of lonely without you, Lou. So get back on Twitch. We miss you, buddy. Anyways,
that man decided to take his family on vacation down the shore.
I can afford a vacation with my family. Have a great time, Lou.
I have a family.
Even Kevin's jumping in on it. I love it. I like where they're at with this. Jay is definitely getting some push. I kind of feel that Grun, where you're talking about, it's not going to hurt Braun if he gets it, and it's only going to help Jay. So I kind of like that, and I also like what Kevin was saying. Keep him away from the bloodline to War Games. We don't need that. He's got so much going for him right now, and he's done it on his own, outside of the bloodline. So that's a fantastic feat too. So I like that. I love where we're at. And we love you too, Lou. You are a 1 in a million, my friend. Get back onto Twitch. We missed the hell out of you.
That's how the kids are doing it, right?
Ooh, that's a fancy one. I haven't seen that one. I like that one though. I like that one better. Oh, well, let's let Lou get his last segment in here. I want to see Jay with a solo belt. Completes the solo run, and he is blazing hot with the crowd. You are exactly hitting on exactly what we were talking about with Jay. And I like everybody's input on this. This was fantastic. A great discussion that we're definitely going to hit back on. I mean, Jey Uso's not going anywhere.
No, he isn't.
Braun Breaker ain't going anywhere. Monday Night Raw is not going anywhere. Well, it is going.
It is going live soon, though.
Yeah, it's going live soon, and it's going to Netflix. So let's give my friends who join me, give me 1 hour of their time out of the week to do this with me, and I appreciate it, guys. So Grun, let them know where they can see those blue eyes and where the hell you're going to land.
You can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Grunmeister. I stream every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. That is where I give you my SmackDown preview review. We talk about the previous week's SmackDown, and we talk about what we know about that night's SmackDown.
Beautiful. All right, Kevin, let them know where they can get that chaos you've been delivering.
Well, there's a lot of it. I have a couple shows coming up. One is FU on October 4th, where I'm wrestling Xander Bennett because he has to know. He knows. I'll be traveling places, so I might see some pretty faces and new faces soon. But I'm also on Twitch streaming. The streams have been off schedule recently just because of happenings in my own life, but they will be normalized soon. Probably to Tuesdays or Thursdays, a Thursday or a Friday, and then one of the weekend days, because I like hitting that morning audience of the weekend with my cup of coffee while I'm watching some soccer. Otherwise, you can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on Facebook, both Kevin Kalloway or Kalloway Kevin, respectively. And then you can also, with the debut of Dear Pro Wrestling, episode 2, I am the official co-host with our buddy Paragon. And you can catch me on that, airing every Thursday.
Awesome. That's great. You guys have been doing great work on there. I know that you've only done one episode. It's only the second episode.
We filmed the third one. That'll be released this week.
Yeah, there we go. So we got the third one to look forward to. So everybody get out there and go see it. And like Annie's saying, follow on the socials, not in real life.
Oh, please don't. No. You follow me in real life, I'm gonna find a way to not talk to you.
That's fantastic. So stay away from the Chaos Goblin. He doesn't
Chaos
need you in
needs
real
his
life.
rest.
Yeah, hang out here, poke your fun, do all the things here. So fans, you know me. It is I, the voice, Joshua Joseph, and you can always catch me here with the Window Lickers crew on the IYH network, where we have a lot of fun. It's Monday Night Raw preview, and we do exactly what we just did. We give you some subjects. We give you two from my co-host. They tell you, hey, this is what I'm thinking about. Why don't you jump in and have a talk with me? Outside of that, you can hit me up on Friday, where I go back in time with the Concept House. Me and him go through ECW, and last week we just started ECW Hardcore TV, and we are going to follow the storylines of ECW. Join in, because last week was a banger. We got to see an RVD versus Tommy Dreamer match. Have you ever heard of such a thing? Well, we seen it, we reviewed it, and it was amazing. So check us out there. And always on the Sunday house party, you can catch everybody who's available at the time to just drop in their opinions. And that show is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And always catch our friends. Wednesday, you have the Raw deal with House and O'Neal. You seen them in the chat. You heard what their opinions are. And then on Wednesday, you can see them fact check us and see if we got anything right, and to spin off of it, because they've been doing that.
Right.
That valid point there. And it's a great point. You can also catch, as like Kevin was saying, catch him in Paragon on Thursdays when they drop Dear Pro Wrestling. It's an amazing show. It's a new show that's a part of the IYH network. You'll love it. Fridays, Grun's Room. Always having fun with Grun. And you can always catch Hypocrisy on his smoke sesh whenever it drops. Just be there. Be ready. Be ready. Follow us. You'll be ready. And you know what, fans, friends? I think we will catch you on the flip side, because Raw's getting ready to kick off, and we all need to go and watch it, because we got to have something to talk about. So we will catch you on the flip side. Peace.
Just you and me now. I'm gonna touch you.
Alright, dude.